What is up, everybody? I am back in a little bit of a different venue this time. I've got a more comfortable chair to sit in, so that should help make it a little bit easier for me and be able to talk a little bit longer. Sorry for the delay on the post-game recap. Sunday at a Halloween party, a trunk or treat I had to do with the kids. Then yesterday was Halloween. So after the Seahawks game on Sunday, I was out the door. I usually like getting these up Sunday night. Selfishly, it usually gets more views because by Tuesday, Wednesday, everybody's kind of moved on to next week's game. But I'm here to talk about the Seahawks 27-13 win over the Giants, third straight win for the Hawks. Third straight win by double digits. It is the first time since 2015 that they've won 3 in a row and won 3 in a row, all by double figures. So certainly an impressive showing, a 10-point win over the Cardinals. I believe it was 14 over the Chargers and 14 over the Giants. Puts them in a positive point differential in the season. And 3 teams that, listen, do I think it's the 3 most powerhouses in the NFL? Not at all, but 3 teams that I think maybe outside of the Giants coming in that everybody expected to be better than Seattle. And an Arizona team that, while I don't think is great, is still a competitive, if not good team, still in that, like, I'd probably rank them in the power rankings 23 or 24, but still competitive with some playmakers. A Chargers team that a lot of people had as a sleeper Super Bowl team this year, including myself, actually, before the season started. Seattle did that one on the road. And then a Giants team that I think most would agree probably overperformed based on what they have through 7 games, but still a team that's playing well. And Seattle's able to get them by double digits as well. So an impressive streak for the Seahawks here as they improve to 5-3. They stay in first place in the NFC West, a game up on the 49ers. Niners do have the tiebreaker at the moment, but we still have one more game with them. I think it's week 15, a Thursday nighter in Seattle, and the Rams continue to look poor, and Arizona, continues to kind of be Arizona. Although we'll get another taste of them on Sunday with DeAndre Hopkins back, so that game will be interesting. So yeah, Seattle wins 27-13. It's hard to keep talking about, Geno Smith and what he's been doing, but just continues to be solid. Nothing, I don't think anything, that was out of the ordinary, like amazing in this game, but just good. Like the good games continue to pile up and not be surprises anymore. This game, I got my box score over here. My pad's charging. He was 23 of 34 for 212, 2 touchdowns. Sorry, I'm just dehydrated. Keep drinking. Should have probably been 35 more yards. Lockett dropped the touchdown in the third quarter. That happens, but could even been a better game for him. What continues to impress me about Geno is he's not just doing this, like, it's not just one read and throw. When you look at Geno, he's going through his progressions on offense. It's not just, take the ball and a little dump off somewhere. He's making good throws. What he's doing looks sustainable. It doesn't look like a flash in the pan. If this was Russell Wilson doing this, we'd all be ecstatic. We'd be talking about let Russ cook and Russell in his prime here. But I think because the name's Geno Smith, some people aren't buying in. But I think that's changing. I really do. If you look around the league, a lot of people now are starting to believe. And I get it. I do get some of the doubts still with it. It's been 8 games. Excuse me. So I do get people being a little cautious about it. But at this point, it just continues. And he's done it against good defenses too. Even the games where he hasn't been his best. Like, I don't think against Arizona he was amazing. But he was still solid. You know what I mean? Like, he hasn't had a dud game. Even the San Francisco game, his final numbers were pretty decent. So it's just overall, it has really been remarkable what Geno Smith has done for this team. I'm trying to think back to a few of the throws. The touchdown to Lockett, where Lockett was on the double move, was perfect. He has sold play action perfectly. The play action touchdown to DK in the beginning of the second quarter was beautiful. He sold that really well. He made Kayvon Thibodeau miss him in the open field on a scramble, which got them the 4th and 2. He sold that shovel pass to Disley on that 4th and 2 perfectly. So Geno just continues to be phenomenal and keep himself in that MVP running. The defense, I got to talk about the improvements the defense has made. I mentioned Football Outsiders on here a lot. If you go check them out, they use their defensive value over average system. It's advanced analytics, and they're opponent adjusted, so all their numbers are opponent adjusted. Now, you may not like their numbers or something and think that they don't work or they're not right. And there are some things that I think sometimes you just watch the game and see, but it is nice to see it backed up. And Seattle was ranked 31st in defense by their numbers through the first 5 games. They've been ranked number 1 the last 3 weeks. And before we go, it's all the Cardinals aren't very good on offense. Herbert's hurt and the Chargers are banged up and the Giants aren't very good on offense. Excuse me. Their numbers are opponent adjusted. So that takes into account. And they are now 12th overall by DVOA in defense. 6th on offense, I think 9th in special teams. So this defense has now moved into the above average category. There's one team in the league right now that ranks in the top 10 by DVOA in all 3 metrics: offense, defense, special teams. That's the Buffalo Bills, who I know the Eagles are playing amazing, but I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody that doesn't think Buffalo's the best team in the NFL right now. If Buffalo and the Eagles met tomorrow in a neutral field, Buffalo would be favored. Seattle's knocking on that door. They're 6th overall, 6th in offense, 12th defense, 9th in special teams. A good defensive performance in Arizona, and they could be top 10 in all 3. That tells me, it shows the balance that this team is having. And if this defense is now for real, they've changed some things up. One, I think they have a good defensive coaching staff with Clint Hurt, Pete Carroll, Sean Desai. I think these are guys that know what they're doing defensively. They've got the guys going in the right positions. The tackling has been much better the last few weeks, even against Detroit and New Orleans. I know they gave up 84 points in those 2 games combined. I thought they actually played better in those games. The tackling was a little better. The pass rush was a little bit closer. Making this video late at night, closer to getting home. And it's starting to show now. I know they've talked about the D-line. In the beginning of the year, the D-line were responsible for 2 gaps in the 3-4. Now they've gone back to being responsible for 1 gap. I think that makes sense with the talent they have. I think guys like Poona Ford, Shelby Harris, especially guys like Quentin Jefferson, they're much better 1-gap players. They're not meant. Poona, I could see being a decent guy, be able to hold down 2 gaps, but he was struggling with it as well. And now they're just rushing the 1 gap, and it's helped. It's made their run defense better too. Truthfully, with Al Woods, Brian Monet, those guys have stood up well. Pass rush starting to get home, and Wosu. Oh, excuse me, boy. Yeah, sorry. But Daryl Taylor, although he didn't really play much in this game, left with the injury after only playing, I think, 3 snaps. But you're seeing the pass rush come to life. The other thing that helps the pass rush come to life is playing with a lead. In this game, when did they get, they had 5 sacks. 2 of them came on the final 2 plays. 3 of them came in the final 2 drives the Giants had. The 2 on the 2 last plays and 1 on the Giants' second to last drive. Playing with the lead helps your pass rush. You can pin your ears back a little bit, get home. It's hard to generate a pass rush when you're playing from behind. It's just not going to happen because your defense is just playing on edge. You don't know what's going to happen. You can't just sit on run, sit on pass. When you're up 14 in the 4th quarter, you can just sit on pass and pin your ears back. And Wosu had 2 sacks. Poona Ford had a sack. Cody Barton got a sack. I think that was the play. If you remember in the 1st or 2nd quarter, Bruce Irvin got through and had Daniel Jones wrapped up in the backfield, and he kind of got away. And I think Cody Barton got him just behind the line of scrimmage. So technically Cody Barton was second. Boye Mafe with a sack. That's his 2nd this year. He's kind of been the forgotten guy in the rookie class. But if it not been for the way Walker, Woolen, Bryant, Cross, Lucas are playing, we'd be talking more about Boye Mafe. He's been a solid contributor on this team. Do I think he's been a Pro Bowler? No, but he's been a contributor. He's been solid. And his name would be brought up about more if those other guys weren't performing at all pro levels. The O-line did its job again. I know there were 3 sacks. One of them was Xavier McKinney, came on just a clean blitz. Travis Homer probably should have came over and picked him up. Went to block the wrong hole. It happens. Not much you can do there. Another one of the sacks was kind of on a busted play action where the Giants' DNs are almost playing a contain, but the play action was really tight, and it just didn't work out, and they got the sack there. And I don't remember the 3rd sack, to be honest with you. My tablet's buzzing out over there. I don't remember the 3rd one. But someone put a video on Twitter today, and I don't remember if you can find it, look it up, but it was all of Kayvon Thibodeau's pass rushing reps, and he was stymied by Lucas and Cross. And Thibodeau, while maybe doesn't have the numbers, has been a pretty solid pass rusher, I think, so far, what I've seen from the Giants, what I watched on them leading up to this game. And Cross and Lucas just didn't have a lot of issues handling him. I know Abe Lucas, even go back, has experience against Thibodeau, Washington State, and Oregon. From what I've read, sounds like Lucas handled him pretty well. I didn't watch a lot of Washington State, Oregon games, so I couldn't tell you personally. But they held up really well, and the rookie tackles continue to get the job done for this team. Can't say enough about the corner play. I think Michael Jackson has played his best 2 games the last 2 weeks. He was all over a couple pass break. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten a pick yet. He's been close. I think he's due for one. And you now have Trey Brown working his way back into action as well. So there's a chance we'll see him this week. Sidney Jones was released today. Not surprising. I think they tried to work out a trade to send him somewhere. Just there's no taker. Sidney Jones hasn't been active. He's barely played this year. Based on last year, I think you could have gotten something for him. But based on this year, just wasn't a lot out there. So it was either, I know some people were wondering why Artie Burns or Justin Coleman wasn't released. I'll tell you why. Artie Burns is cheaper, and Justin Coleman's your only nickel depth. If something does happen to Kobe Bryant, Coleman will slide in there and play nickel. So that's the reason why Sidney Jones was released. And I think you keep Artie Burns. It gives you some depth. And you don't know what Trey Brown, he's coming off a serious injury. I don't know how many reps he'll get. I imagine him and Michael Jackson will probably split reps a little bit. He'll work in. I imagine Jackson will get the bulk, but it is nice to have Trey Brown on the mend. Other standouts, I've been kind of a champion for LJ Collier on Twitter. It's not that I've been impressed with LJ Collier so far. He's been a bust, obviously, but I do think there is something in there with a guy that could help this team, and he played okay on Sunday. He had a pressure, had a quarterback hit, which was fairly close to being a sack. It wasn't just like a late. He was there, and he batted the pass down in the 4th quarter. So listen, I know like that's the bare minimum what we're asking for, but you know what? It was something. We'll take it. And if LJ Collier can contribute, and I think he might. I think he might be a guy that has a little fire in him and can help this team. You cannot have enough defensive line depth in the NFL because you rotate those guys in so much. So anything we can get from him will be a bonus. Kenneth Walker didn't have his best game. I thought the Giants did a good job stopping the run. They get credit. Their run defense has been pretty poor this year. They were coached up well. I'll talk a little about the Giants in a second. But they coached up well. Wink Martindale's a really good defensive coordinator. I've said it. Here's my thing on the Giants. I don't think they're a super talented team right now. Saquon Barkley's amazing. Andrew Thomas, great. Evan Neal's great. Xavier McKinney's a good player. Thibodeau, I think, is going to be great. Who else am I missing? Dory Jackson's a good player. I'm missing some guys, too, obviously. Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, good players, too. But overall, I think they are lacking a little talent. But I do think they made the best offseason coaching hiring with Brian Dable. I said in another video, thank God, as a Seahawks fan, the Cardinals didn't fire Cliff Kingsbury and hire Brian Dable. I think that would have been a tremendous hire for Arizona. I think the Giants got a great coach. And to pair him with a guy like Wink Martindale and Joe Shane, the GM, coming over for the Bills, one of the guys that helped build that organization, which has really become one of the model organizations in the league. I definitely think the Giants are on the right track. I do think Seattle's a more talented team right now, but I took that Giants team very seriously. I know they're 6-1, and they've been kind of called frauds, and they're overperforming a little bit. I think even Giants fans would admit that. But that was a team that knows how to win in the 4th quarter, a team that has won close games, and a team with a coach that has them believing they're going to win. And they were there. It was 13-13 in the 4th quarter. That's how they've won their games. They stick around with you. They don't do anything great, but they don't do anything bad either. They don't beat themselves. And this week they did. The Richie James fumbles, some blown coverage on the Lockett double move. And part of that's the Seahawks helping to force that as well. But I do have a lot of respect for that Giants team. I don't think they're the most talented. I don't think they're going to beat out Philly or Dallas for the division, just my opinion. But I do think they're a really well-coached team with enough top-end talent that can make trouble for you. So I don't think that's just like a whatever win for Seattle. I think it is an impressive win to beat that Giants team. Kenneth Walker, think I mentioned it. Yeah, I did. I said, Giants D stepped up, stopped him. Really a couple nice runs. The touchdown was an amazing run. If you can watch it, DK sells a fade route, just beautiful. And I think it's a Dory Jackson, just completely bites on it, helps Walker get in. He was fine. I just don't think the running lanes were there today. Abe Lucas had a great play where he pulled on his best run that wasn't the touchdown and just blew up a guy. Lucas has been so much. Abe Lucas really, I think, is on his way to be the best right tackle in football. I really do. I think it's the next Ryan Ramczyk. I really do. I think Abe Lucas, if you did a redraft today, Lucas would go in the first round. I'm almost positive he would. Tariq Woolen probably would as well. And I think Cross would too. I don't know if Walker would, just with running backs and how they're valued. I'm out of water, so don't worry about me swigging anymore now for the rest of the video. But yeah, I think Abe Lucas 100% would go in the first round. What a tremendous, tremendous talent. And he's held up against everybody. Khalil Mack did nothing. I didn't mention that in my video last week. Did nothing against the Hawks last week. Cross and Lucas held up just fine against him. Lockett had the drop but redeemed himself. DK playing in that game, I thought there was no way Metcalf was going to play. Then Lockett was questionable. So I was like, oh my gosh, they're both not going to play. But they both did, and they both looked fine. I mean, Lockett had the fumble and the drop. It happens. That's not going to happen again in the game, so I'm not worried about that at all. Marquise Goodwin's been a real nice contributor. I didn't mention him much last week, but he's been a real nice addition. He's kind of, I think, what they thought they'd get with guys like Philip Dorsett in the past. They're finally getting it with Goodwin. The tight ends continue to be weapons. I know, is Will Dissly like Travis Kelce or George Kittle? No. But if you watch Dissly, almost every one of his catches is a touchdown or a first down. He moves the chains. I think he's the top tight end by DVOA. If you go to Football Outsiders, I think it's Will Dissly because he moves the chains. He's not the athletic freak those other guys are, but he's a great blocker, and he moves the chains. He's got good hands. Noah Fant's been good. And Colby Parkinson has been impressive. I like Colby Parkinson. I think he's been a great option. And he's made some clutch plays this year as well. Trying to think of anything else to say, and there just really isn't. The Seahawks are 5-3. A couple weeks ago I said, are they contenders, pretenders? I wasn't sure. I did say this clearly isn't a team that's going to be drafting in the top 5. Last week I said I think they're serious contenders, at least a playoff team. And I said, but I don't think there's any way this team ever holds up a Lombardi. I don't know. I'm wavering on that a little bit. They're 6th in DVOA. They've got a quarterback playing at MVP level. They're balanced. They've got good offense, good defense, good special teams. Why can't they? Listen, I'm not predicting they're going to beat Buffalo or Kansas City right now, or the Eagles, or going to Dallas and win. If anybody comes on and says you're crazy, I'm not saying that. But why isn't this team in the conversation for it right now? And we'll see. We got 2 tough road games coming up at Arizona, then in Germany against a desperate Buccaneers team and a desperate Cardinals team this week. I'm a believer in just split there going into the bye, get to the bye 6-4. And listen, the schedule's going to get tougher. You've got the Chiefs on here, a Raiders team that's not playing well but is talented. You've still got the Rams twice who are going to be desperate, the Niners. Carolina's been feisty under Steve Wilkes, the Bucks, the Cardinals I just mentioned. So you've got, and a Jets team that's got a really good defense. So it's not going to be easy. But you know what? Why not this team? Why not? Why aren't they in the conversation? They're top 15 in all categories, essentially. So let's see what they can do. I'm not predicting they're going to the Super Bowl. Don't misunderstand me there. I'm just saying, why not? At this point, I'm all in. I'm all in now. They did it. They got me all in on a year that I thought was just going to be relaxing, easy to watch, stress-free, because I was like, I'm not stressing this year because I think they're going to win 6-7 games. They got me. They got me hooked, and they got me stressing. Congratulations, Pete. Pete Carroll, you did it. Anyways, go Hawks. Great win. 5-3. I'll get on a little bit more and talk some more Seahawks this week, and we'll get a preview up for the Arizona game. Please like, comment, subscribe. I said I'm getting a lot more views on my videos. My subscriber count hasn't gone up a ton. I'm trying to get to, my first goal right now is to get to 100. So if you guys can help me out with that, it would be greatly appreciated. So like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.